We rarely notice the exact moment when something beautiful in our lives stops feeling extraordinary. A new apartment becomes just a place to sleep. A relationship that once made our heart race becomes a quiet routine. Even happiness itself, no matter how intense, slowly fades into the background until it feels normal, expected, almost invisible. This silent diminishing of emotional intensity is not a flaw in your character, but a built-in mechanism of the human mind, hedonic adaptation, a process that ensures we return to emotional baseline even after the most joyful events. To understand why this happens, we need to examine the ancient architecture of the brain, the structure of reward, and the uncomfortable truth that our minds were not designed for lasting satisfaction, but for survival. In early human evolution, emotional highs were dangerous. The ancestors who relaxed too long after finding food or shelter risked predators, starvation, or sudden changes in environment. So the brain rewarded beneficial actions with a burst of dopamine, but quickly shut it down, pushing the individual to remain alert and keep striving. This system kept humans alive in an unpredictable world. Today, even though most external dangers have disappeared, the same mechanism governs modern life. You feel a rush when you buy something new, achieve a goal, or enter a new relationship. But once it becomes familiar, the reward system stops reacting. What was once exciting becomes ordinary. People often mistake this fading for lack of gratitude, but it is simply biology recalibrating to stability. Hedonic adaptation explains why even major achievements lose their emotional power surprisingly quickly. Athletes feel empty after winning championships. Celebrities describe the hollowness of fame. Successful people admit that reaching their goals changes far less than they expected. The mind does not sustain peaks. It returns to baseline, compelling us to continue striving and searching. This cycle, while frustrating, is also the engine of human progress. Without it, we would not innovate, grow, or seek deeper meaning. Relationships follow the same pattern. At first, passion is fueled by novelty and discovery. But as the relationship stabilizes, the emotional intensity mellows. Many interpret this as boredom or decline, but in reality, it is a natural shift from dopamine-driven infatuation to oxytocin-based attachment. Society tells us that the fading of excitement means something is wrong, yet it often means the opposite. The relationship has transitioned from intensity to stability. Confusion arises when people chase the initial high, unaware that its temporary nature is woven into human psychology. Modern culture intensifies hedonic adaptation. Social media constantly displays curated moments of joy and adventure, leading us to believe that happiness should be permanent and visually spectacular. When our own happiness fades, we assume we're doing something wrong. But even those who appear endlessly excited adapt to their experiences. Luxury, travel, success, nothing is immune. With every improvement, the threshold for satisfaction rises. This is why materially comfortable societies often experience higher levels of dissatisfaction. People stop feeling the abundance around them, even though their lives are objectively better. This process is reinforced by negativity bias, the brain's evolutionary tendency to prioritize threats over comforts. What is secure does not require action. What is imperfect does. As a result, we become hypersensitive to problems and blind to what is going well. Even a life filled with good things can feel insufficient if the mind is constantly scanning for risks or flaws. Hedonic adaptation combined with negativity bias creates a loop where progress goes unnoticed and emotional experience remains flat. You can dramatically improve your life, yet feel almost the same emotionally, leading to the illusion that nothing changes. Understanding this mechanism liberates us from unrealistic expectations. Dissatisfaction is not a sign that your life is lacking. It is a natural feature of the mind. You are not flawed for getting used to the good. You are human. And while we cannot eliminate adaptation, we can work with it. One method is deliberate awareness, noticing what you usually overlook. Not forced gratitude, but conscious recognition of what is stable and meaningful: your health, your home, your relationships, your opportunities. Attention reactivates emotional circuits and allows familiar things to become vivid again. Another effective strategy is introducing novelty in small, intentional ways. Changing your routine, exploring new environments, or trying new activities forces the brain out of autopilot. You do not need dramatic life changes to feel renewed. Even small disruptions create freshness and restore emotional engagement. But the most sustainable antidote to adaptation is purpose. Pleasure fades quickly, but actions aligned with your values create a deeper, more enduring form of fulfillment. Purpose does not give the explosive high of novelty. Instead, it provides a stable direction that can withstand the fading of emotional intensity. Recognizing the temporary nature of happiness changes how we live. Happiness is not meant to be constant. It is meant to be noticed. When you stop expecting joy to remain, you start appreciating it as it comes. When you stop chasing endless emotional peaks, you begin to experience peace. And when you stop blaming yourself for the fading of good feelings, you free yourself from the illusion that your life is inadequate. We get used to the good because our minds were wired for survival, not sustained pleasure. But within this understanding lies the opportunity to create a more conscious relationship with happiness. You can learn to rediscover what has become invisible, to savor what remains stable, and to seek meaning instead of constant stimulation. When you do, your life does not need to be extraordinary to feel deeply fulfilling. It simply needs to be seen. And in that act of seeing, you recover the beauty that has been quietly present all along. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment to join the journey through history. See you in the next video.